Hello, everyone. Good morning, good evening, good night. Welcome back to Lana's Little Things with me, Dr. Lana, specialist gerontologist. And we are going to go down there. Yes, we're going from waist down tonight. I know. So just gird up your loins, literally, and we're gonna get into some serious talk. But this is my game face for the two final World Cup games. I just love football. Those of you who do, you understand. Those of you who don't, it is what it is. The beautiful game. So I am, and I also thought, you know what? If I'm going to talk such a serious talk, let me just bring a little fun to it. So why not? Hello, everyone. Syphilis. That's what we're going to be talking about tonight. But syphilis as it relates to dementia, because I syphilis has is a sexually transmitted infection or disease. The new term is infection, but it has so many phases and so many different treatments and can look like everything else. It is a challenge for you, the person, the family caregiver, older persons, younger persons, the physician, the specialist. Yikes. And so I am going to focus on dementia because of two reasons. One, it is part of dementia screening. No judgment, no stigma attached. It is part of the protocol of dementia screening because, let's just say, because without your consent, you may have just contracted it from your mom, and you may through the vaginal tract, and she may have had no symptoms. You may have had no symptoms for years and years. And because syphilis can do so many different things, it's been called the great mimicker. It can look like anything else, including dementia. So let's get into it. But the most important, the reason why I wanted to speak now is connected with the medical conference that I'd gone to yesterday, and then research which has shown that syphilis, which we really thought was eradicated 50s, 60s, and so on, but we gotten really close, is on the rise. And I don't mean a little bit of rise, I mean an explosion of syphilis, which is dangerous, not just because it is, you think, oh, sexually transmitted disease, I'll just take a pill and it'll be fine. No, no. Syphilis is different. Because of its nature, it can go from one to the other, to the other, to the other, to the other, and then it goes to your brain. But but it can be treated. We gotta detect it. We gotta test for it. We gotta remove the stigma behind it. Let's just talk about it because this can go on for hours, but we only got a little bit of time here, and I just want to make it as useful as possible for you, so that when you, as a family caregiver, are taking your loved one to the doctor, and you think mom or dad has dementia or early signs, or you, the patient, you're thinking, I'm not remembering, or if relatives and friends are telling me I'm not remembering, and the doctor says, well, we have to test for HIV and syphilis, you're like, what kind of person do you think I am? Do you know how many times I've had that said to me? I'm like, and it takes it takes a lot of pulling, coercion, and gentleness and patience and time to explain you were not. I'm not thinking that you were that any kind of way, but it exists, and because it's on the rise, we got to talk about it because it's a community health risk. It is a global risk. It is a global challenge, and it's increasing because healthcare varies so much around the world, and access to healthcare, access to treatment, access to eradication, if we can, is limited in many countries. And so, it's kind of like it's kind of really depressing. The conference, as the doctor said, I know I'm depressing you, and like, but there's still hope. So, what is syphilis? I mean, I think we've all heard about this through Al Capone. No, No judgment. We just call them the names of people who we know, who you may have heard. And it was called the French disease. It's called the Polish disease, the Neapolitan disease, depending on where they found it. And for many, many years, and among soldiers, and we also have some controversial things with soldiers, but we're not going there because it is a mass, but it is caused by a bacteria, virus, fungus, less, but we're living with them, and we just gotta be aware. The bacteria is called Treponema pallidum. I'll write it down. Don't worry about it. But it sounds like it. It's spelled like it sounds. It also sounds as dangerous as it is as dangerous as it sounds too. Hey, and why is it increasing? So that's one. It gets into your bloodstream through a sexually transmitted means. So through sex. Hey, let's use the word. We're all adults here. And but it also, because it can mimic and because it can hide in its different stages, you may not be aware of it. You may think, oh, that's just a little bump I had, a little sore. You put some, cream on it. Everybody in the Caribbean has a cream for everything, trust me. And I know you know the village lady who everybody goes to who has a cream for everything. Right. Especially when we going down there and we don't want to let anybody know. So where what we know what it is, we know it's a bacteria, we know it can go. It presents, and I'm going to focus on tertiary, but I'm just letting you know that there are two other stages, primary and secondary. And those are the early ones. And then it's broken down to in other stages. But we ain't doing science here. We're just talking about how you can protect yourself and your family and your loved ones and treat something that can be treatable. And also catch it when it comes so that it wouldn't cause further damage down the line. And also spread to your loved ones, to your sexual partner specifically, and to your children. Because as I said, it can be contracted through the vaginal delivery. So, stage one, stage two, and stage three. Stage three, which is tertiary syphilis, which is the one that goes to the brain and the spinal cord, and specifically for our intents and purposes, can mimic dementia. Yes, dementia. And I'm seeing so many patients. I've seen a few patients recently, and in their dementia screen, it takes a lot of pulling and convincing, as I said, to get them to see that there's no judgment here. It's protocol. You may have been born with it. You didn't have any signs. You weren't sick. Your mom wasn't sick. Nobody knows. It happened. You may have been fortunate, but the patients I see, my demographic is over 60, over 70, and they have been turning up positive. But some have been coming up suddenly with signs of dementia, and they're like, what is going on with me? I'm like, what is going on? So when we are screening, and the good thing is, when the treatment was given, I won't say it disappeared, but it they were themselves again, and that is what we want. We want to bring joy. We want to bring some satisfaction. There's so little in medicine that we can treat. We can say we got it. That when we do get it, we really want to help. We really want you to be okay. But here's why syphilis is increasing. It's increasing because of poor health care, stigma, and therefore persons don't want to come forward. It's increasing because there's a disparity in who gets treatment and who does not across the world. Let's be real. Health resources are limited, and some just cannot afford to get it. The other things are that sexual practices have changed over the years, and the risk of contracting a sexually transmitted infection have increased. In addition to that, if you have one sexually transmitted infection, it lowers your immune system. It makes you more at risk because they can all They all have another avenue they can go through, and you're at risk of other sexually transmitted infections, herpes, HIV, and the like. So one leads to another. It's a domino effect, and we want to get the one before we can treat the other. So you see the dilemma? Okay. But don't be discouraged, because this is not to tell you, this is not doom and gloom. So the increase, yes. The types, yes. The great mimicker is, in terms of, does mom, dad, they having dementia? 60s, 70s, those kind of things. Yes, that's the typical age. But if you know, as part of the protocol and the test, so please, when you come to the doctor, this is just a like a forewarned, forearmed kind of thing. Don't be alarmed if they ask you, because they have to. We have to ask you about your sexual activities, your sexual preferences, your past or family history if you know it. And we also, and if all that's, negative, then we still have to do it as part of the protocol, because you could have been born with it and just kind of gotten away for the time without any adverse things happening to you. So please be aware. This is just like an awareness post, really, awareness channel, awareness talk. It's hard for me to talk about. It's not hard for me to talk about it, but I'm trying to be as delicate as possible, because this is a delicate situation. And so I want you not to be afraid, ashamed, and feel ashamed or feel embarrassed or feel like, oh, I've gone to the doctor, and you don't have to tell people your business. Tell your trusted friends. Your spouse ought to know. Your contacts ought to know. Your sexual partners ought to know. Because if it's untreated, it goes and it goes, and it causes sometimes irreversible brain damage, irreversible dementia that just escalates, psychotic reactions, hallucinations, self-harm, dangers, other diseases, early death, just disruption in a normal, happy, what was a normal, happy, healthy family life. And also on the point of that, older persons, we acknowledge older persons that, 60 is the new 50. I totally believe that. We're younger and younger, healthier and healthier. And sexual, older persons are more sexually active. And they ought to be, because that is one of the joys of life. It is a God given joy of life that He gave for mankind to enjoy. So, within His standards, but at the same time, it is a gift from God. So, I don't want you to turn it into something that's negative and shameful and hiding and so on. We know things have changed. We know people have changed. This is not a lecture. This is not a sermon. I'm just given the list, and you choose and pick and choose from here what you will take from it, how you will have a family discussion, how you can discuss with your partners, how you yourself can think and sit with this and think, maybe this is not just brain fog. Maybe this is something that can be treated. Maybe I can get better. The treatment options our doctor will discuss, but the first thing starts with testing. So I'm encouraging you, the testing centers, your private physician, a different private physician if you don't want your other private physician to know. But please get tested, because it can save your life. It truly, truly can. And when that happens, everybody wins. The children win, the older persons win, everybody wins. And we safeguard ourselves from other diseases, other illnesses, other dangers. And we can live in the society that we want to, and age like fine wine, age as healthy as you can, age happy. So please have your sexual health as part of your general health. Be aware, remove the stigma. We are social creatures. There's no shame. we just want to focus on something that we know can be dangerous. We are removing all the judgment from it. We are trained to not have judgment to any persons. Everyone will, let's say we apply the golden rule to you, and when you come to our office, it should be a safe space. So I'm encouraging you, please get yourself tested. Tertiary syphilis is on the rise in the millions around the world, and it can be treated. So please get yourself checked. If you're concerned about your loved one, get yourself and your loved one checked. Have your contact tracing, and good health to you from my heart to yours, Dr. Lana. This is a little bit, touchy, but trust it was helpful. If you found that and you like this content, share with a friend. Share with a friend. Just let them know the information. They let them take with it from what they will. And I present so many more different topics than this. So please look through this channel, look through the station, see what you like. Subscribe, be aware of the notification, press the notification bell. I present every Saturday, and I'd love for you to feel safe in your environment. It really is about that. We have an oath to first do no harm, but to also do as good as we can for the rest of our lives. And we want you to be healthy. Truly, from my heart to yours, Dr. Lana. Good morning, good evening, good night.